morning, everybody. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live daily photo show on YouTube every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, unless I'm traveling, in which case I might change it, but I'm not, so I'm here, and it's live, and we're now. And hey, if you're watching live, awesome. Thank you for being here live. If you're not, you should be, because that's the best way to appreciate the show. But of course, I know not everybody can. Hey, if you're live, that means you get to participate in the questions and the comments, and I get to throw your comments up on screen. And just like Click Critic did there, you type in @PhotoJoseph in front of it, and that ensures that I will see what you are saying. If you don't do that, then I might not see it, and your question will not get answered. So today's show is a Q&A show, which means I answer questions that have come up in the comments over the past week or two or three or four, as it might be in this case. And unfortunately, as I was explaining in the pre-show, the comment search system has decided to be broken this morning, so I cannot find the comments that I've tagged for addressing. I'm going to try it one more time real quick here just to see if something woke up in the last 5 minutes. And of course not. It says no, cannot find. So I am going to kind of maybe scroll through, maybe get lucky and find some by memory, or just remember what I had tagged. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit cumbersome here. So sorry if you came here looking for your question because I linked to it and I don't get to it. If that happens, if you're watching this video because I linked to your question, I said I will answer it in today's show, and you're not seeing the answer or hearing the answer, just mark it again and say, hey, dipshit, you forgot to do, I'm not supposed to swear on my show, am I? Oh, you're not supposed to, you didn't answer the question, and then I will do it the next time. Sorry. Okay, first one that I did remember, no idea whose question it was about, on the GH5, the viewer was commenting on how they're primarily a still shooter, don't do that much video, but when they do video, they're usually shooting in an automatic mode, and they want to be able to utilize the back dial under and over exposure. So you can just roll this up and down to make the image darker or lighter. And they don't want to have to hit the plus minus button on here. So on your GH5 or GH4, or this actually goes to, I think, all Lumix cameras. I think what I'm going to show you here applies to every Lumix camera. I think. I could be wrong, but anyway. You're going to have a plus minus, that's your under over exposure. And typically you push that button and then you rotate the dial. And what I like to do is have it set so that you don't have to push the button. This dial is always an under over exposure setting. So if you are, as long as you're in a non-manual mode, if you're in an automatic or semi-automatic mode, just spinning that dial will make the image lighter or darker. And they asked how to do that, and so that's what we're going to show. So let's get this thing fired up. We've got, I don't have like my fancy stand here today, but that's okay. All right, let's go over to the camera, and I'm going to go into the menu system. And the way you do this is you go to the, what is this one called? I always forget these things are called. The custom menu, the custom wrench menu. Go to operation, so that's the spinny dial one. And then dial set. See, look, I prepped for this. It's already set up. Dial set. And then down here, you've got exposure compensation. And by default, that's set to off. So when it's off, let me just go through how it works when it's off. So it's off right now. I am in aperture priority mode. And as I rotate the dial on top of the camera, this is the one in front of the shutter, you see it's changing the aperture. As I rotate the dial on the back of the camera, it does the same thing. It changes the aperture, right? And if I want to go under or over on the exposure, I have to push the button, and I know you can't see my hands, but I push the button on top of the camera that says plus or minus, and then I can rotate the back dial to do that. That's what he's trying to avoid, is having to hit that dial. So let's go back into here. Operation, dial set, exposure compensation, and you can set it to either the rear dial or the front dial. Personally, I prefer the rear dial, so I turn that on. And now the front dial is going to change my aperture, as it did before, but the rear dial will change the under and over exposed. And that is the ticket. That's what you want to do. That allows you to just very quickly do that. And I highly, highly recommend it. To me, this is one of the great advantages of shooting mirrorless and shooting in a mode that is semi-automatic. So aperture priority, which is where I shoot like 90% of the time and 95% of the time when I'm just out running and gunning, not studio work, but running and gunning. Aperture priority, because I want to control the depth of field. That's kind of that's the thing I want to control. And so I'll leave an aperture priority. I can spin the aperture dial, make it, stop down, open up, whatever I want. But then if I want to make the image a little bit brighter or darker, I under or over exposure, the exposure compensation. And instead of having to hit that button and then do it, being able to just rotate that dial. And the part where the advantage of being mirrorless comes in is you see that through the viewfinder as you're adjusting it. Right? On a mirrored camera, you go, okay, you look it through the viewfinder and you take a picture, you look at it and go, it's too bright, right? I'm going to underexpose it to stop. So you underexpose it to stop. You don't see any change through the viewfinder, right? What you're looking at right now is still the same thing because you're looking at it through the glass. So you underexpose to stop, take a picture, look and go, too much, and you bring it up a third of a stop and take it again, and off you go. On the mirrorless, as you're adjusting the dial, as you just saw here, the image gets brighter and darker through the viewfinder as you're adjusting it. And that's just insanely awesome. And seriously, if you're still shooting mirrored and you try that on a mirrorless, that's one of those things that makes you go, oh, I'm done. Yeah, that's it. Mirrorless for me. So, and this is whether you're shooting Lumix or you're shooting Sony or Fuji or whatever. They all do the same thing. It's just, it's the way to go. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, Ryan is telling me that he took screenshots. There's a folder on the desktop, Ryan, that is labeled comments. Drop them in there, and I will be able to pull them up from here. That's awesome. Apparently, he was able to find them. That's where they should be. Ryan's asking where the screenshots went. If you hit Command-Shift-4 and did a thing, then they should be on the desktop. And they're not there? Then I have no idea. That's what he did. He can't find them either. Well, see if you can find them, and we'll put and then stick them in there. All right, so that's that one question. Oh, someone had asked a big question about Metabones. I need to find this one because I don't actually know the answer to this, and I wanted you guys. Here we go. Awesome. Here, I'm just going to pull this up on screen here. This is from Nani Jackson. Says, hi, how's it going? Congrats on your channel. Why, thank you. I am buying next week a GH5, a Canon EF 100-400, and a Metabones T Speed Booster XL 0.64, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Oh, or the Ultra 0.71. Can you tell me the difference? Honestly, I can't. That's a question for Metabones. But here's the question. But my real doubt is I will use the GH5 for filming surf from land, and I want to know if I can use the autofocus, because sometimes the surfer starts away with 300 feet away, and they finish 30 feet from the camera, so clearly a lot of movement. Manual focus is impossible to zoom and focus. Yeah, I get it. So you want autofocus that is fast enough with the Metabones adapter. And he's basically asking, is it going to work? Is that fast enough? My friend, I have no idea because I have never used one, but I'm sure that people in this audience have. So while we are meandering around looking for other questions, please in the comments tell me if you know for a fact whether you can, with that combination, whether the autofocus is fast enough to shoot action sports. So a surfer isn't moving super fast towards you. I mean, 300 feet to 30 feet distance, that's pretty good range. It's not, I guess they are moving pretty fast. Once they're actually hit a wave, they're moving pretty fast, I suppose. So yeah, maybe scratch that part about not too fast. The motion tracking in the camera should do a very good job on that because it's a high contrast scenario. You've got your surfer against the waves, and I think that's pretty high contrast. Should be fairly easy for the camera to lock onto, but I don't know, I'm not a surf shooter. The extent of my surf shooting experience mostly comes from shooting from helicopters. Have I ever told you this story? If not, I'll have to show you those pictures one day. I think I did though. So throw that in the comments there. Tell me what you think of that while I look for another question on here. See if I can get something else to address. And Ryan says they are in the folder. Excellent, Ryan. Oh, they're still showing up on, okay, well, it's funny they're showing up on the desktop for me. But that's okay. It just means that my thing hasn't synced. There are. Okay, I'm going to wait for my desktop to start syncing, finish syncing between the two. Here they're coming. Thank you, buddy. That's awesome. Ryan found them all. Okay, let's see here. Ooh, people talking about sound breaking up. Is it back to good now? Are we back to good sound now? Hopefully. All right. Houston says, can you offer some advice on how to get the flattest file without having to buy Vlog? Yeah, that would be the Cine V. Cine like D for, I forget what they stand for. Cine like D. That's your flattest profile. That's Cine, what does the D stand for? Darn it. I know this because I just did a video on this. Cine like V is for video, giving you a more video look. I'm pretty sure Cine D, well here, let's see, this is easy enough to find out. Let me point this as something colorful and high contrast. That's colorful-ish. Just go out wide there. Here we go. Okay, here, let's look through the screen here. So if you go into your photo styles, see down at the bottom, Cine D. That doesn't look terribly flat, does it? Let's try Cine D, Cine V. That looks a little flatter. Look in the manual. Honestly, I don't recall what the difference is, what the Cine D and Cine V dynamic, maybe D's dynamic range, which would be the flatter one. It's still nowhere near as flat as Vlog, but that's going to be, I'm pretty sure that's your best option if you haven't installed the Vlog upgrade. Or you could also try to make your own profile, right? Remove all the contrast, right? You know how to do that. Or you go in here and pull this up again. Oh, you have to go into the mode. So you go into the camera mode, go into video, photo style, and we'll just make our own custom one, right? So I go into my contrast, take my contrast all the way down, probably take your sharpness all the way down. Noise reduction, I don't know if you want to leave that on or not. Saturation, if you go all the way down, I think it turns into, does it go black and white? No, I guess it doesn't. So there's that, and then, well, don't do a hue shift. So that might give you the flattest profile possible. Yeah, I would, give those a try. Try something like that. That'd be a good starting point. It's not going to be vlog, but it'll be a starting point. Okay, let's see. See what else is going on. Bring this up. See if anyone's commented on the question at hand. Marvin says, do you have a standard contract for your training videos? If not, what items should be noted as important and what must be included in any contract you set up? Contract for training, I'm not sure what you mean, because training videos I don't do for other people unless it's Linda and then they provide the contract. Clarify what you mean by for training videos, please. Oops, scrolled off. Let's see, here we go. And Neil says, first time watching live on a bus in Belfast, Northern Ireland. I love Belfast. Belfast is a fantastic city. I want to go back. GH5 arrived today. Excellent. Very excited to get it out of the box. I would be too. Man, that is so much fun. Hey, if you don't already have it, see, now I get to do my pitch. If you don't already have it, Neil, you got to get this, the GH5 training. Go to gh5training.com. You get a pre-order and save $40, 40% off of the final sale price, because that is available now for pre-order. Get it now. Get it before it's done. All right, Click Critic, audio just glitches. Everybody's saying it's occasional glitching. What kind of glitching, guys? What are you hearing? Tell me. And Ryan, are you hearing any of it? Ryan's not, nothing like it goes silent, Ryan? Oh, Ryan's not hearing the glitches. Okay, so it's beyond our system. It's in the YouTube side. That's a drag. But explain to me, tell me what you're hearing. Travis says, do you have any suggestions on Mac applications to import videos or pics off the GH5 directly to an external drive? I currently import using iPhoto, then drag the photos. Oh, gross. Okay, yeah, use Photo Mechanic. If that's all you want to do is just import and you want to add metadata and that sort of thing, then use Photo Mechanic. If all you need to do is get the pictures from the memory card to a folder in the Finder, just drag them over, right? Just open up the folder and drag them over. So if you don't want to do any kind of adding metadata or anything like that on import, just drag them off the card to your drive. But if you do want to add metadata, add your copyright, that's the most important stuff, right? Copyright, contact info, and that sort of thing on import, use Photo Mechanic, and then Photo Mechanic will help you cull the images as well to narrow it down. So if your workflow is you want to bring in all the pictures, cull them down to your top 50 or whatever, and then import those into Lightroom or whatever you're using, or you're not using an asset manager like Lightroom and you just want to keep them in your in a folder in the Finder, then Photo Mechanic is the way to go. Thomas says the audio is fine. Good, glad to hear it. So there's just some weird things going on. Scott Colesby says the difference is, about the Metabones. The difference is between the XL and Ultra is just focal reduction. The XL shouldn't be used with the APS-C style lenses on Micro Four Thirds. Excellent advice, thank you. Neil says, I will be buying your training course. Now, without a doubt. Why, thank you, Neil. Thank you. Marvin says, my son is doing some video work for a teacher who's producing a course on math. Oh, okay. So no, I don't have a basic contract for that. I would, when it comes to video, they're basically owning the final product, as I think we talked about last week, or the end of, I think it was last week's end of week show. When it comes to video, it's very different than photography. They own the final product, unlike in photography, you own the final product. I would recommend not handing over the project files unless that's something that is specifically stated in their agreement. That way, if they need changes to it, they have to come back to you to get them. This is just keeps you in business, keeps them from taking your product and going off and creating something else with it. So, but other than that, whatever the final product is, they basically own that and all the distribution rights that go with it. That's standard. Obviously, you can write a contract that says absolutely anything you want. And if they agree to it, you're golden. Anyway, in general, no, I don't have a straight up contract for that because, like I said, Linda provides the contract. Now, just as a point of reference, when I do video training for Linda, if they do all the production, right? So if I go down to their studios, or they come up to mine and they send their crew, they're shooting, so they're handling all the production side of it, then they handle all the editing and everything, and they own that content, it's theirs. I have no rights to that content. I obviously make money off of it, but I don't own any rights to the content. If, however, we do what's called an aggregate course, which is what this GH5 training course is, I'm producing it myself, right? I'm doing all the production, I'm either editing or paying for someone to edit it, I'm handling all that on my end. I own that content outright. They have no obligation to publish it, which actually comes true even when they produce it themselves. They don't have an obligation to publish it. If at the end they decide they don't like it, it goes out. But when I do this content, I have the rights to it. I sign a contract with them, giving them the rights to distribute it. But if I decided I didn't want to do that, I can cancel that. So actually, it's probably not that easy, but it doesn't matter. They have the rights to distribute, but I own the content. So just interesting differences there. But that's because I did all the work to produce it. Okay. Beardy Faces, what is the difference between bracketing and shooting multiple exposure photos? Have them on my G80. Is it both for making one photo with different exposures stacked HDR? Like, okay, bracketing and okay, multi-exposure is shooting onto the same frame of film, so it'll actually overlay the shots, right? So if I take a picture of a person and then I take a picture of a mountain, it's kind of like taking those two photos into Photoshop and layering them and blending them together. That's what the multiple exposure is, and that's an old film trick from back in the day where you would fire the picture and not advance the film and then fire it again. It was kind of tricky how you did depending on the camera you had, so that you could cock the shutter without actually advancing the film. A lot easier in sheet film cameras because you just not swap out the film. Or a trick to do it would be to put it in bulb and cover the lens, right? Take the lens cap off in a dark room, fire the flash, cover it, change the scene, take the lens cap off, fire it again. That's how you see all those god-awful portraits, like family portraits. You've got, mom and dad like this, and then the son kind of half overlaid, and those hideous things. Yeah, multiple exposures. Anyway, that's what multiple exposure is. Different from bracketing. Bracketing, you're right, is generally designed for doing multiple exposure compositing for HDR type work, or also just simply, I want to have a bunch of exposures to choose from because I don't know what's the right one. So a lot of different reasons to use it, but that's the primary reason. Okay. Okay, this comment's got to be synced over by now. So let's just see. Yes, they are. Let's see what we've got here. So this is going to be a little bit old school way of doing this. Let's see if I open these. Can I go full screen on this? I can. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, this works. Thank you, Ryan, for saving my butt here. All right. Next question. Okay. Tess Goodman. Oh, by the way, the previous question, there's no name on there. Anyway, so Tess Goodman asks, is it true that Vlog is only useful if shooting 10-bit? I keep seeing that in comments elsewhere. That's a really good question. Is Vlog useful if you're shooting 8-bit? Yes, but not as useful, right? It's one of those, the more the better. So Vlog, remember, is a very flat profile designed to give you more dynamic range so that you can grade it later and get more out of the shot. You will be able to get more, and more specifically, make sure that you have really smooth color gradients if you're shooting in 10-bit Vlog. So 8-bit Vlog is still useful. It is going to give you more range than non-Vlog in 8-bit, but to really get the most out of Vlog, you want to be shooting in 10-bit. So the camera will internally, the GH5 here, will internally do 8-bit 60p Vlog or 10-bit 30p in Vlog, but if you use the Atomos Ninja Inferno, then you can get 10-bit 60p in Vlog recorded externally, and then you record it in ProRes as well. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. It's one of those things. It's like, once you realize you can do it, there's no going back. Like, I shoot almost everything in 60p now, even though I deliver in 30, just because if I want to do a slowdown on a shot, I know that I can do it a 50% speed run and it's flawless because there's no interpolation. And then you go, okay, well, now I want to shoot Vlog. That means I want to shoot 10 bits. Now I want to shoot 10-bit 60p Vlog, but I can't do that internally. So you got to have the external. So, you give a mouse a cookie, telling you. Okay, let's just keep going through these questions. Next up. This is not going to be an answer as much as a precursor. Pablo says, thank you for your video. What about high-speed HSS, high-speed sync, off-camera flash? I'm looking for it and found pretty much nothing. Could you make a super helpful video? Yes, I would love to make a super helpful video, and I will. I only put this up here to say I got your question. You absolutely can do off-camera high-speed sync flash with Panasonic strobes. I don't know about third-party strobes because I don't have any, but you can do high-speed sync with Panasonic strobes off camera, and that is a great idea, and I will do one. Here's another fun little tidbit of news. We haven't done anything out in the main studio in forever because it's set up for my GH5 training, so over the weekend, so I told you I'm home with my baby on my own. My wife's out of town for a couple weeks. So I came in over the weekend to get some work done, brought the baby in, it was nap time, put the baby down to sleep. Saturday, I got some videos done, that was great. Sunday, came in to do it again, and what happened as soon as I was in the middle of recording? The gardener showed up with the leaf blower and proceeded to blow leaves around the building for the next 45 minutes. You can hear a leaf blower like a mile away on microphone. Killed, and when they were done, the baby woke up, so. Didn't finish yesterday like I planned, so we're back in here tonight. Got a babysitter coming over, trying to finish it, try to get this video done. Anyway, that's my story. That's my problem, not yours. But I will do a high-speed sync one soon. That I told you that just to explain why the video, we haven't been out there in a long time. Sorry, it's a bit off topic. But once the video is done, I can reset the studio, and I now have a Blackmagic camera with the display on it so that I can set up a second Blackmagic camera out there in the studio for those shots. So that's going to be super cool. And I cannot wait to get that set up. So then I can do things like this second sync off camera flash, yada, yada. So we'll get our high-speed sync off camera flash. So we'll do it. It's not going to be this week, but we'll get there. Okay. Oh, this is Hooked on Photography had the question about the rear dial exposure, so we answered that already. So Hooked on Photography, thank you very much for providing that question. Got that one. Next up is Casey Herbert says this is talking about the lost drones. Says another approach is to look at the last GPS coordinates recorded in your flight log, and with a simple GPS app like My GPS Coordinates for iOS, user phone is a guide to find that location. So My GPS Coordinates, I have not looked that up. Maybe even bring it on. Can you bring in my phone, Ryan? I think it's sitting out there. I was going to look this app up on the air. Oh, wait, do I even have? Yeah, I do. Thanks. Yep. I wanted to check this out because that sounded kind of cool. So let me get this cables out here. Let's plug this thing in. We're going to need this as well. That sounded like a neat little app, so I thought I'd look it up and see what's happening there. So let's see while we're waiting. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was still... Sorry about that. My bad. I didn't realize I still had that up on screen. Let's get this in here, plug this guy in, and we're going to take a look at finding this app because I think that sounds cool. So let's go App Store, and we've done this. I think this is the right one. Yep, that's the right preset. Okay, App Store, and let's see if we can find My GPS Coordinates. My GPS Coordinates. Oh, looks like there's a pro version as well. Looks like our stream signal is going to heck. You turn off, you be quiet, make sure my backup's not happening here. Oh, the good. And Backblaze is frozen over there. Excellent. There you go. My GPS coordinates. Ooh, it's free even. Cool. All right, so I guess you punch in the numbers and it takes you where you got to go. Excellent. Folks, it looks like the stream has gone to poop. Hopefully it is okay on your end. All right, was that the last question in here? Oh, there's another one. Oh, no, that was the last question. Okay, great. So thank you, Ryan, for getting those questions for me. Now we got those answered. Let's go back into the comments here and see what's happening here. Zachary says, what extension plugin do you have to show subscriber count when viewing comments? That's part of TubeBuddy. Yeah, check out TubeBuddy. It's so awesome. Scroll back up. Minor audio jitter they're talking about. Yeah, I know. It's so weird. Oh, Clement says, why do you use your Sennheiser lavalier mic pointing downwards? Is there any benefit in sound quality as opposed to facing the mic upwards? Okay, that is a really good question. So this type of mic, a lavalier mic, is an omni mic, means it's capturing everything like this, equally, in general. The reason I point it down is because I find that if it's pointed up, you get a lot more pops from the way I talk. And obviously I'm talking quite quickly and aggressively, so there's a lot of breathing action when I talk a lot, when I talk quickly. And so having it pointing down eliminates that or reduces it dramatically. I do have to turn the gain up just a little bit more, but I find that it is worth it. Now, depending on the shirt you're wearing, if your mic is like if it's a t-shirt, it's not going to matter as much because it'll be under your chin. And in my case, my beard would protect it, but then my beard might rub on it as well. But down here, which is where I normally am going to put it, I find let's just try a difference here. You're going to have to clip it the other direction here. Come here. I'll leave it like this. Sorry, I shouldn't yell into it. Come here. Okay, that's good. So I'll leave it like this for a little while and see if you see the difference. And you can tell me if you can tell the difference between the way it was before and the way it is now. So thanks, we'll give that a try. It's fun. It's a good question. It's a really good question. Okay, anything else on there? Nothing else on there. Trevor says, no one in my neighborhood uses the leaf blower. I think we all like each other too much. Isn't that nice? It is, to be fair, it is a Sunday in an industrial district, so nobody's generally here. So it's not an issue, but you know, I'm here on Sunday afternoon sometimes, and that is super, super annoying. All right, I think that's that. Is there anything else? There was a question that came up at the very beginning. I said to repeat, and it didn't, and you didn't. It was from SkateTube. SkateTube had asked, look at that, see, I remembered you. SkateTube had asked, what percentage of your time do you dedicate to photographic work? That's a really, really good question, and it brings up a it brings up a little change that I'm making to my personal schedule. So the simple answer is not enough. You get so busy in everything else, especially, between doing this show, obviously doing things like the training videos, and it's just general looking for work, marketing, dealing with customers, and so on. A very small percentage of your time gets dedicated to actual photography. You talk to any professional photographer, even if they're not doing video, just straight up professional photographer, and universally, they're going to tell you that they spend more time doing editing, looking for work, dealing with clients, invoicing, all the stuff that goes into making a business, way more time doing that than they do shooting. Shooting might only be 10, 15% of your time, and that's a good amount, right? And so when you're talking to someone who's an eager, I want to become a professional photographer, it's one of those really important things to realize is that becoming a professional photographer doesn't mean you're going to be shooting 100% of the time, or 80% of the time, or even 50% of the time. It's very easy to get wrapped up in all the other things and only go out shooting when you have a paid gig, and then you realize, well, if I don't have any paid shoots, but I got all this other stuff, suddenly I haven't taken any pictures in a couple of weeks. So that's a bummer. So you really need to dedicate time to that. And that's a change that I'm making in my schedule. So I'm going to flip this mic back upside down. Anybody saying, are you noticing the difference here? I'm going to flip it back because I know in my experience that it sounds better this way. So flip that back upside down, flip that under there, and there we go. So hopefully that was enough of a experience that way. And I would love to hear from you. Do you notice the difference? Do you think it's better when it's upside down? Okay, so for me personally, what I've decided is, this is kind of funny because it's one of those things where I was thinking, I was talking to my wife one day and I go, I run my own business. I really should structure things so that I work a 4-day week and have 3 days off. Like, why not, right? I mean, I put in so many hours, I should do that. And she goes, well, why don't you take a day of the week that's just for shooting? And I go, that's kind of smart, right? So my plan, and it's tough to make this a regular thing just because the schedule's so erratic, but my intention, my hope is to turn Fridays into shoot days, personal shoot days. Do a photo moment, but from out in the field. Or maybe I come in here and do one and then go out. But still do the photo moment, but not be here, right? Not be in the studio, unless I'm shooting something in the studio, but I'm going to be shooting. The problem is if I'm in the studio, there's always other stuff to do. So get the hell out of here. Go out and go shooting. Whether I get some friends together to shoot, whether I go shoot some landscapes, whether I just, I don't know, go street shooting, whether I get a model and go shoot, I don't know, anything. But I got to spend more time shooting. And that could be video or stills, doesn't matter. But I got to spend more time shooting. Maybe just go out and fly the drone all day long, or, for 15 minutes at a time until the battery dies. But yeah, that's a really important thing. And I think by setting in my schedule, Friday is the day, every Friday, this is what I'm going to do, then it will be good. And I've like blocked on my calendar Fridays, or no meetings, no calls, no trainings, nothing scheduled for Fridays. So that's my intention. So we'll see how that works out. But I think it's an important thing to be able to do. Alrighty. Let's see. Travis said, I've been testing the 4K VFR 60p. Right, there you go. Do you think there's a quality difference between shooting this as compared to just normal 4K 60 and slowing down in post? Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because if you slow in post, you're adding frames, right? You're telling the software to create frames. It's called interpolation. To make up frames in between the ones that are there. So if you make it easy, you do a 50% slowdown, you're now playing every other frame is real and every other frame is fake, right? Has been made up by the software. And software does an incredible job. And there are third-party apps and plugins that do it even better than what's built into, say, Final Cut or Premiere. I can't remember the names of them offhand, but I know that there are some out there that are really, really good. But your best result is always to shoot it natively, because then you're actually getting a frame per frame, a recorded frame per frame. So it's absolutely always better to do it natively. It doesn't mean that it's not going to look good if you do it slow, if you do it in software, but it will look better if you do it natively. So there's that. Also, if you do, let's say you wanted a 4x slowdown, if you shoot it at 60p, so you got a 2x natively, and then now you're only interpolating every other frame as opposed to shooting at 30p and slowing it down 4x, and now you have to interpolate every 3 frames, right? So you've got a real frame, and then you've got 3 interpolated frames, and then a real frame. Oof, that's really bad. So, even if you have to interpolate something, shoot as high of a frame rate as you can, and then interpolate the rest. Don't just say, well, I'm going to have to interpolate, so I'll interpolate everything. Don't do that. So definitely shooting natively at the frame rate that you're going to out for is a really, really good idea. Big Jake Guptill saying, use high pass to eliminate pops as well. Yeah, I've got the high pass on a bit. I've turned it up before more. I think we've tweaked this a bit, and I think, Jake, you might have even helped with this a bit. We've tweaked it a bit before if I was too high at one point, so I think we're doing good. I mean, it sounds pretty good, right? I know I'm doing this instead of the boom. Well, the boom's not even here now, but I'm doing this instead of the boom. Have been for a while at your request, and I hope you like it. I hope it's better for you. Okay. Oops. Marvin, definitely better upside down. There you go. See? Ryan says, I hear a rounder, fuller sound with it flipped mic up, but there's more pops that way too. Oh, good. Interesting. Oops. And then you get more of these too, if I'm not careful. All right. Travis says, sorry, still learning over here. I don't remember what that was about. But no worries, Travis. Whatever. Whatever that was. SkateTube says, but take Ryan with you and film him dancing. Wow. Dance, monkey, dance. You guys are mean to Ryan. Why are you guys so mean to Ryan? They're mean to you, Ryan. Don't take it. Don't take that lying down. Clemmer says, definitely less pops facing downwards, but I'm wondering what would happen if you were shooting in a noisy environment on location. Guess this is a good solution for studio work. Yeah, well, if you're on location, noisy environment, you generally want to get as close as you can. You can also kind of, put them up on collars in here. There's mic, the whole how to mic somebody, that's like mystery science stuff on its own. It's crazy, crazy. Let's see here. Marvin says, I'd suggest a compromise may be needed on shoot daily allocation. Why not have 1 day a month? That's not enough, which is definitely a shoot day and can be amended unless it's swapped for another day. 1 day a month isn't enough. It really isn't. I got to get out more often. You don't get better if you're not shooting, right? And I do a lot of teaching, and at some point you got to keep up your skills, right? There's that adage of those who can do, those who can't teach. It's a horrible adage, horrible. And I don't want to become that person who's only teaching and not doing. So I need to do more actual shooting, just to exercise my trigger finger. It's got to be done. Okay, let's get out of here. It's been a good show, 40 minutes in. That was fun. That was a good Q&A. Thanks a bunch, folks. That was fun. It's Monday. Tomorrow, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can finally, okay, Atomos, the Ninja Inferno. I gotta send this, I swear to God. Max has gotta be beside himself waiting for it. If he even knows I'm sending it. The rep from Atomos is like, I'm sure really pissed at me right now. I'm probably never gonna get anything out of them again because I haven't sent it on yet. But I also blame Atomos a little bit because it's taken me a really long time to get a call scheduled with them. I have a few final questions that I need answers to, and I've been told we're gonna talk Tuesday, which I actually don't know if it means Tuesday their time or Tuesday my time. So maybe I'll talk to them today. If I talk to them today, then tomorrow I can do a show on the Inferno. If I don't talk to them today, maybe I'll just do it without the final answers. But there's some really important things that I really want to have right before I tell you guys, because I don't want to get anything wrong, because it's kind of an important product. Okay. All right, okay, so there's a couple other questions that came up. Let's do these real quick. Trevor says, just wondering if you have heard anything on a release date for Mavic 2. No, I haven't heard anything about a Mavic 2, but I don't have my ear to the ground on DJI stuff, so I'm the wrong guy to ask. Technology asks, any Luminar sessions planned soon? Why, as a matter of fact, that is a fantastic question. I'm so glad you asked, because yes, this afternoon, I am, Luminar. Sorry, no, Affinity Photo I'm doing this afternoon. My bad. Luminar, I did a bunch on. Didn't I finish Luminar? I thought I finished Luminar. Let me double check. Let's go into the browser. Let's look at PhotoJoseph's Expert, and let's go full screen and hide that. And here we go. So let's see here. If we go to app and we go to MacFun Luminar, I did editing techniques. That was the 8th session. Yeah, I kind of think I wrapped up Luminar. We did through all the adjustments, the Pluto update when that came out. I'm pretty sure I did everything I intended to do on there. If there's something I'm missing, and then we did a podcast on the Neptune update. If there's something you guys feel that I'm missing on Luminar, let me know, and I can do another session on it. But I don't think I missed anything. So, photoapps.expert, and then click on that little app, pull down right there, and choose MacFun Luminar, and you'll see everything about MacFun Luminar that I have done. So, technology is saying your recent meetup with the MacFun folks thought you had something new planned. Ah, I do. But that's much longer term. Off into the future. It's not today. That is something that is, that's future stuff. So, with that said, I'm out of here. Take care of you guys, folks. It's been a fabulous Monday. Hopefully tomorrow I'll do an Atomos thing. If not, hopefully Wednesday. If not, maybe I'll just do it and skip some of the really important stuff that I need answers to. But I got to wrap this thing up. All right, folks, it's been fun. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.